I'll just start on Veritas, the company. It's an interesting company to work for, a French company. Bureau Veritas is Latin for Office of Truth. So our business is assessing other companies in determining whether those companies meet certain standards or not, and telling them the result of that assessment, similar to what we do for the GreenBizCheck clients in validating the process they go through GreenBizCheck to get a result, a bronze, silver or gold certification, and we assess that process and determine, thank you, and determine whether we agree and issue a certificate to that effect. Around the world we have 80,000 companies certified to a various number of standards. There's a lot of standards in the world that are deemed as certifiable standards. A lot of international and local country standards that we audit against. I'll talk about a couple of those today. We've got 5,700 auditors around the world. In Australia, we're not the biggest certification body, but we're up there in the top 5. We have, as a business, 2,500 staff, and we're growing. Our logo is often an interesting topic. There's a bit of history behind our logo. We've been around for a long time, 1828, and there are a lot of different items on that logo that actually mean something. So if you have a look at some of the things that make up the VB logo, it's all around impartiality and calling things how it is, vigilance, knowledge. So whenever there's a gathering of VB people for different conferences or meetings, there's always a question on the logo, and then there could be a question later on, so a heads up. Okay, so specifically today, I was just going to talk quickly about the most popular standards related to environmental management. So ISO 14001 is an international standard. It's the international standard for environmental management. So it gives a guide for companies to basically implement systems and processes that make up an environmental management system. And at an international level, a whole lot of countries have agreed that that's the standard that they expect that companies could get to have an international recognition of their processes. Along the same lines, ISO 14064 is a relatively new standard, specifically developed to standardise the way that countries report greenhouse gas emissions, so that there's an international reference for countries to compare the way that emissions are reported. And I'll talk about the GreenBizCheck process at the end of the presentation as well. So ISO 14001, it's used by 223,000 organisations globally, so it's got good coverage as far as an international standard goes. In Australia, there are 2,000 companies certified to the International Standard for Environment Management, and more and more companies are seeing the value in having their systems audited and deemed in conformance to this international standard. So the standard itself basically provides a framework for effectively managing your environmental aspects and impacts. It doesn't set the target, it just sets requirements for the process that you might use to set your own objectives. So for that reason, it's really scalable for different companies to implement. Like I said, it doesn't dictate levels, it basically provides a framework for you to set your own targets. As a quick case study, Australian company URS, a group of engineers, environmental engineers in Australia, 850 professionals in 10 offices around the place, implemented an ISO 14001 compliant management system. They had a few challenges, consolidating their environmental policies and procedures. They were keen to demonstrate to stakeholders that they do have an environmental commitment, and they wanted to reduce their environmental impact. So having gone through the process of getting certified to ISO 14001, They saw significant results in the reduction of their carbon footprint, reductions in their air travel and office electricity, acknowledgement of clients of their environmental achievements. And like Baden said in the last presentation, I guess by having a framework that they could actually measure these things is the starting point for any kind of improvement. Same as ISO 14064, I guess at an international level, a number of countries saw the opportunity to start to at least provide a benchmark for how greenhouse gas emissions might be recorded. Having various pieces of legislation in different countries is not often a global benchmark to refer back to, and this is what this standard's about. So Westpac in New Zealand sought certification at ISO 14064, and again, by measuring their footprint in accordance with this standard, we're able to look at significant reductions across various different parts of their business, electricity, air travel, etc. The argument here is, what kind of forces would drive companies to go down this path? There's a number, and as some of the speakers following me might point out as well, I guess staff working for a company that's seen to be doing the right thing, sustainability-wise, environmentally-wise, is one thing. Shareholders particularly, basically looking at companies that they see have got a future and sustainability being a criteria to them. Customers who want to deal with suppliers that are deemed as sustainable or have some kind of environmental credential, as well as regulators, EPA and other organisations that regulate the way we do things, particularly environment-wise, often have requirements on certain companies to do certain things, reduce emissions, etc. So there's a number of forces that, I guess, are in play that influence companies to go down this path. The GreenBizCheck program that we're associated with, I guess, is a really good first step from what we see in enabling businesses to identify their impacts and determine to take actions as a first step. And really, I think the process that GreenBizCheck's established and that we're associated with is a really good way for companies to get in the door and start doing something about the environment. Thanks for your time. If there's any questions, I'll be available in the networking room, so look forward to catching up. Thank you.